Good morning to you. Got a new testimony for you in this new year. Hope your holiday went well and hope your new year's off to a great start. Several years ago, I was in music leader at a church close to where I'm at now, and a couple in that church had desired to have a child and had went through all kinds of tests, all kinds of things, hospitals and doctors, and just seemed like nothing was working, and people was praying. The evangelist came in one night and called this couple out and gave them a word from God that they would have a child, that God was going to bless them with a child. And I felt impressed to stand with that couple and agree with them. And after the service was over with, I knew that they were fixing to move out of town for a job that he was going to. But I made sure I had their phone numbers, and I began to text back and forth with them. And on a weekly basis, sometimes more than once a week, encourage them and standing with them and agreeing with them that God was going to come through with this, because when God gives you a word, many times the enemy will come in and begin to try his best to discourage you, to just brush it off, that it was just it wasn't the voice of God, it wasn't God speaking, that it was just a man saying his conscience and what he felt. But I began to agree with them, and I didn't know if I'd ever see them again, didn't know what would happen, but I knew that when God says something, he's going to do it. And I wanted to be there for an encouragement, not to build myself up, but just hoping that in my lifetime that somebody would be there to encourage me in it. And God has always had somebody there for me. But as time went on, I got a text one day from this family, and the husband texted me and he said, "Guess what?" He said, "We're going to have a baby," and so gave me the due date when they was expecting the baby. And I continued to pray with them and continued to contact them and encourage them and just praise God with them. And as the time went by and come time for the birth of this child, I desired to see this miracle, this gift from God that God had given them. And I didn't know how it was going to happen. But in one service, before service started, I looked up and here came this couple in the front door of the church. I left the platform from the keyboard and I walked back down the aisle towards this couple, and I began to weep. And as this lady handed me this baby, and she said, "Here's the miracle that you helped agree with us with." Folks, this is something that we need to know, that God is still on the throne, that what God says he will do, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, and he changes not. And if God has given you a promise, you stick with that promise. You hold to that promise. It doesn't matter what people says. It doesn't matter what the enemy speaks in your ear. But remember that God is still on the throne, and he will give you that he has spoken to you of.